Harry boy, like you said at the beginning of the show, we've got like 15, 20 minutes before we get out of here. We are at over 200 people watching us on YouTube. We're only at 130 likes, guys. We're almost at 150. I watched the breakdown on your channel. I seen you on the Sorare Data Show and everything as well. Now that the dust is kind of settled and all the rest of it, what is thoughts and feelings on the winter update? We'll be chatting about this in more detail tonight, but we've got 20 minutes to chew the fat with the chat. Didn't mean that, but there you go. Thoughts or feelings or anything like that? MLS is exciting, division changes, blah blah blah. XP, I don't know, anything.
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously messaging you on WhatsApp, and yeah, I think the MLS the MLS stuff is really exciting. It's a bit annoying, obviously, that you can't use them in Challenger. Like they're just an island now, aren't they? They're just on their own and they just do their own thing and kind of just this threshold stuff. It's weird that we're going back to threshold now. Like after the whole malarkey of moving away from it, it's crazy how they're kind of bringing that back, phasing it in maybe for August potentially. Using it as the MLS as like the sort of test run. But we'll see. We haven't got numbers yet, and it's tough to like be too excited about the MLS stuff without numbers. Like we don't know the threshold, we don't know what the prizes are for in season. As far as divisions go, I get it. Like I get why they've condensed them. I know I see your point though as well, especially with limited. Maybe is 3 overkill? Could have been 4. Like do they need to do 3? I don't know. Rare seems fine for 3. I think. Like I've mentioned to you, I'm not going to sort of go back on that. I think I do like the one division thing for Super. I know it can like everything. Everyone always says it, but like every update favors a whale. Like let's just be real. I'm not saying this from like I'm a whale perspective. Like most updates favor whales. Like just how it kind of is, and they're going to be happy about that. I'm not speaking from that perspective, but I'm just sort of saying that even with like the not needing to worry about relegation now in Super Rare for me is a big like weight lifted off my shoulders. I think because I've been wrestling with staying in D1 and getting to D1, especially in Challenger, and I've been winning there. Like I've been doing really well there with one lineup, and I'll have like my secondary now and again as well, which sometimes does something, but not really. But just knowing that I can just go all guns blazing and kind of not worry about, do I play Mario Jr. 60-40, but the matchup's unbelievable? Well, now I can just do it because I don't have to worry about that. Now I know other whales are going to have that and they're going to have 5%. Like I get it. Like I know I'm going to be in a deeper pool. But for me personally, I like the thought of not needing to worry about the relegation. And that's just, from my perspective, a good thing. It's not going to be a good thing for everyone. And I get that. And I'm not necessarily saying that I benefit from it. I just think longer term, I think it is a good thing for the scarcity. The 4-on-1's a fucking nightmare. Simple as. I just don't think it's positive in any way. I think we've seen it, shared across social. I know we're always going to see the most negative, the loudest, but ultimately nobody seems happy with the 4-1. Why would they? I've seen a couple maybe being like, oh, well, it's kind of the same thing, but it's like, it's not. Like you do have to, obviously spend more on that. And I get that. Like we sorry need to keep the lights on in a lot of ways, but for that scarcity and especially unique as well. Like it's hard for me to speak from a unique perspective because I don't play it, but like that must be a disaster. Like the 4-on-1 there, I think that comes in at August maybe though, isn't it? Or something. I don't know. I can't remember, but either way, or something to do with the MLS, wasn't there? There was some sort of, sort of thing to say on that in the blog. But overall, I said in my video, I'm quite neutral on it. I don't think it's amazing. I know I haven't spoken about X. Like the XP is fine, like simple, like it's not game changing. Like who cares? Yeah, like it's simpler. Fine, that's fine. It doesn't affect me in any way, but it's maybe better for new people because it's just easier to understand. Ultimately, I'm very neutral, mate. Like I don't think it's great in either way. The 4-on-1 outweighs the divisional like benefit for me in Super. Like it's just all not back to square one, but like we've just done a whole lot of stuff to kind of come back to the same spot. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel. And I know, you may be a bit, I don't want to speak for you, but a bit more negative on the divisional stuff, which I completely get. And I liked how you broke down. I watched the breakdown video of, what it could mean for newer players. And I agree, I do agree with you in a lot of the stuff. Yeah, I do, especially at limited and stuff, 100%.
Yeah, I think like I'm not getting into the division stuff too much. I think it's kind of been beaten around them enough, but I think like I think that's probably the only part of it. It's just I think all the care and attention has been put to making like D1 better, to make the top prizes better, more concentrated, more juicy, and all the rest of it, which everyone's always up for. But yeah, that's just across the board. Just my kind of sweeping is like, imagine entering You know, like where do you enter now? Like you're just in these barbarian divisions now, in limited and rare is what it's going to be. You know, like there's no like easy win in D4 just to get you going, or D5 as it is currently. You know, or whatever for the limited guys. Overall, but one thing that I did find kind of interesting that sparked into mind when you brought up the MLS threshold there, that I heard Andy Black mentioning last night, was that he doesn't think the threshold thing is going to be that good or anything like that. And it kind of penny dropped for me that it's going to be threshold probably over free lineups. So what I mean by that is like for rare, what did we used to get? 20 or 50 quid, depending on what year we're talking about. Whatever it is, it's probably going to be that divided by 3 because you're going to have 3 lineups that could go for it, you know, because you've got multi-entry on it. So if it is like 50 quid, it's going to be like 12 quid a lineup essentially or something like that, you know, and you'll need to hit threshold 3 times to get the full whack, you know, if that makes sense. That was something that I thought is probably going to be part of the construction of all this, where it will look crap, but you'll have 3 teams and people will go, oh, well, if I get all 3, then I get 60 quid, you know, then that's brilliant, or whatever. But obviously chances of hitting all 3 and regularity, yada yada, all that kind of thing. You know, in terms of the actual threshold itself, like they did say it will unlock cash. You know, they did use rather particular language, and when they do that, it's normally for a particular reason. Did you have any thoughts into like into the mechanics of it all or anything like that? I've not. I'm just kind of spitting my feelings.
What of the threshold? Sorry,
yeah, like how it works, what it'll be, or anything at all.
I mean, you know, obviously it's there to, you know, convince people to spend more than for cash prizes and other things. Though it was cash
To
essence
unlock.
and
To unlock was the words.
I don't know. I don't think there'll be a cap. There can't be a cap. Like, I agree with Black there. I don't think there'll be a cap, obviously, because you're playing them in season and you just unlock in the fact that they're 5 in season lineup. But I said in my video, like, you basically got to weigh up, will that extra in season player, like, can you make up the difference? You know, so if you go 4-1, okay, that team costs 100 quid. If you go 5 in season, it costs 150. Well, can you make 50 back on the threshold? Basically, is what you're kind of thinking there, I think. But we don't know the numbers, do we? I don't know, mate. The fact that it's limited and rare only, does that give us like an insight into like, why isn't it super rare? Why isn't it unique? You know?
Yeah.
Like, what's the thinking behind that necessarily? Is it we can't afford to do that, or we can't sell enough cards to warrant it? Which, you know, from a scarcity supplies perspective, maybe that's why. I don't know, but I'm just thinking there. I can't be much money though, can it really? But then if it's not much money, what would be the point of playing the 5? Honestly, I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's really hard to gauge.
I think the thing we all agree on is it's very much like a testing zone situation. So maybe the super rare element, I never really thought about it being a future thing, or why they've not done it necessarily. I just kind of noticed it was only limited and rare, but yeah, that might be part of it. Maybe it's in the new Europeans. So again, like when Black was being quite negative about it, I remember, and him and Laird, and I know Laird's here today, Black's probably here as well. I know I totally agree with the meme of like the whatever you think it's going to be, half it, and then it's 10% of that number. I'm totally behind that, Rex. We've had that kind of shit before. But remember when they first did like super rare and limited thresholds? Like no one's seen that coming. Like that was really like blow your socks off stuff, wasn't it? So
not the super rare one. People thought like that was like left field, wasn't it? Big time. Like in a good way.
Unique and stuff as well. You know, like no one's seen it going out of rare. It was just a rare only thing. So there is room to be surprised with these things, I think, you know, is what I'd kind of say on that, you know, like, but I think it will be divided by 3 because of the multi-entry element, you know, like that will be the way that they kind of keep their powder dry, where like, if you only win one, you get a $5, get up you know, but like, if you get them all, then you're getting your, I don't know, changing numbers all the time, for example, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it is interesting. But like, I worry why they go, like the fact that it was so detrimental in general to the platform for, you know, like not have it, like it going away, or them having to take it away, and the negative impact that had on the community. The fact they're like bringing it back, it's just a bit of PTSD, I think, isn't it? Like, why are we touching the subject? I think it's, or do they know that people loved it and they're like, well, we need to bring it in somehow. So how do we do that?
I think it's a little bit of a mixture of like, I think the model it was running on at the time was obviously like harming the businesses everyone keeps talking about. And I don't know how people come to know this, because it's not as if we get access to their fucking books or anything like that. You know what I mean? People do maths, I get it. They can work out revenue and expenditure to an extent. I get it, right? But I was never told, like, I never really sang that song too much. It was never really something where I was like, oh my God, they're paying out so much. This is going to be terrible because, like, and I know, like, money, once you spend it, it's gone, right? But they did raise a fuck ton of money. People have spent a fuck ton of money on cards for years at this stage. So I never really felt that. So anyway, but I do think like it was at like unmanageable probable level where they're probably like, listen, we can probably keep that going, but we don't have enough money for all this other stuff. And yada yada. So they're probably now that it's been gone, been able to go, right, how much of a threshold kitty could we try and like siphon to the side, you know, again, rather than it being this like mad where it was like everyone played for threshold. I think that was part of it as well, is like tuning people back to being leaderboard players. And then, you know, once you've kind of taken them off the dummy tit, as it were, then it's right, okay, can we make it actually a function? So I think that might be part of the thing that's in it. Maybe it's customer pressure because everyone talks about how much they loved it. I think us, like me, you, content creators like Laird and whatever, I think we've all gave up talking about it when they announced it was going because it was like, oh well, that's the music stopped on that. You know, no point crying over spilled milk. But apparently, yeah. So maybe other people put them under pressure. I don't know, but it'd be interesting. You're on mute.
It's a completely different dynamic now, isn't it? Like you're not rewarding shit scores. You know what I'm saying? Like you're rewarding, well, you're probably going to have to reward better scores. And I get that, like how that favors them, obviously, because it's harder for us. And how they can afford to maybe still do it. But yeah, I don't know. It's a strange one. I'm just surprised they're just coming back to it. You know, that's the only thing for me. I'm just surprised it's even back in the zeitgeist. You know, that's not worrying, but I'm just surprised they're doing it. Very surprised.
And I see, I kind of get away from the whole unlock cash rewards part of it. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be like
a progress bar or something of some sort.
Something where it's like, yeah, like I don't know. I might be getting hung up on it too much, but yeah, like maybe like lower and mid threshold kind of situation again, but like or lower, mid, high, but high's the only one with cash potential, and the other ones are like fucking power ups in essence or something, you know. And it's why they didn't say like thresholds for cash rewards. It was thresholds to unlock, or you know, I feel that language. I mean, I might be reading into something that's not there, but I can't shake it.
I get it. I definitely get it. 100% get it.
Yeah.
It is a weird terminology though, that like what Northern Sports Cars says there. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Yeah, and Ryan Walters here, it's probably on a good one as well for the I scored X and got fuck all posts, like maybe for that kind of element as well.
Yeah.
But MLS like is such a MLS now is such a interesting division because I heard you and the data guys talking about the star pool, like in general, you know, and how like the stars in that league are like goalkeepers and shit like that, right? But getting a star like that has only been a problem before because of the parity of other stars. But in that, you know, vacuum situation, then legitimately the top 10 players are the stars of the show. If 9 of them are goalkeepers or whatever, then then you're getting like one of the top players in the division. There's no beating about the bush. Value maybe doesn't come into it in the same fashion. So I think like it's going to be interesting at so many levels. I called it on a video that's out tomorrow. So my old little sorry, not a spoiler, but it's a little bit incestual how it is just like by itself. Those cards, when other you know, the purpose of those cards is only for this place. They just don't. I know they're going to specials and under 23, right? But there's no, because of the no region thing. There's no anywhere else. It's just like they're just for this. That's all they're for, you know. In a weird way. So it's going to have a really interesting market, I think. Like even the auctions, never mind the secondary. And then I say the threshold and leaderboard stuff. I think it's going to be a really kind of fascinating thing for all of us to kind of watch unfold this year.
Yeah, it could really balloon, you know, like rare limited prices. Like if there is something really interesting there and people, you know, got something to chew on, then why can't prices, you know, really reach a premium if they are willing to give away X, you know, with the threshold on top of the in season? Because you know, you could be I don't know what the math would look like. Obviously, none of us do, but it could look like a good opportunity. But the problem is then everyone's going to want to jump in, and that's good for them because it increases you know, demand and whatever, and prices probably tend to rise. But I don't know. Yeah, am I surprised they're just keeping MLS on like an island? I don't know. I am surprised, but I'm also not, because it is such a unique league in general. Like we mentioned it, like it's just so different to any other league. Like salary caps and everything's controlled, isn't it? It's a very much controlled league, and by the powers of the beat kind of thing, outside of maybe Inter Miami. But like it's just different, isn't it? It's just a completely different league. Massive. There's 30 teams, man. Like it's massive, and it's different. It's just so different to any other league. Does it deserve to be in Challenger? It's a bit like, well, maybe not. But because it's been there for so long, no one bats an eyelid, do they? No one even thinks about it being different because it's in there.
Yeah. I just think like with it being like 30 teams, like it's not as if they need all the rewards for the competition, because there's going to be a bucket of them,
Yeah.
And yeah, you probably like keep the better ones there. I get that, but you want to have as many people as possible. I think in the league situation that would need or be open to, I'll buy my goalkeeper from there, or I'll buy my captain from there. And then once you've got one card, you win another or two. Oh, do you know what? Some utility opens up, and it is just like, if you're playing it, it's a full decision now. Like there's no accident happening. There's no, oh, I'll buy one guy and see how it goes or anything like that. It's either you're in or you're out, on that one. There's no kind of sideways, oh, I'll play under 23 or I'll play challenger or,
Right.
kind of thing. Under 23 maybe, but you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird. It's just a weird thing. Very left field. Like, sorry, I always do this though. Like, there's always something random that, like, you could never see this coming. Like, if it was on, like the bookies have like 10-1, just random things. Like Roy Keane says he hates fucking Mika Richards or whatever. Like the random things you could never bet on them. Like you just couldn't, because they're just so random. It's weird. Like I get it though. Obviously people there, they know, like they do know their stuff, as much as it's trial and error a lot of the time, because they are new. Like new as in like there's no other company that kind of do what they do. It's a lot of trial and error, and I do get it. Like you do have to feel for them in some ways, but yeah, there's only so many sort of times you can not. I'm not saying they've got it wrong every time, but you can't keep giving them sort of a pass type of thing every time.
Yeah, Bochetti here with a good point on the playoffs. I suppose they must have some sort of bespoke plan for like the full thing. You would think, And again, to reference the Sorare Andrews show, they were speculating on maybe there's a upcoming tie-in that we might see a wee bit more of. I think they were kind of half poo-pooing that in a little way. But like when you see, the amount of Sorare cards that IRL teams are actually buying at the moment, like Wilf Zaha is going to Charlotte, Bamba going to Chicago, Neymar actually like in communication with the Chicago Fire. Like even that as a thing alone is absolutely crazy. And when I heard that, I thought, the sporting director at Chicago Fire has definitely found the Sorare Andrews show, and he's been so sick of all the slander.
Slander.
He's been like, I'll show you Chicago Fire stacks. He's going out to try and make it happen. So it makes you wonder. Maybe they're doing their scouting on Sorare, and they're buying Zahas and Bambas for it, because they know what's going to happen. But in terms of playoffs, I think they would do something, wouldn't they? They wouldn't just let it die at the end of the regular season. I think they would do specials or playoff extravaganzas.
Definitely. 100%.
8,000 entrants in the new game mode with 3,000.
More than I thought that is.
I don't really know what we're talking about when we say that. 8,000
the neon.
entrants. The neon.
Yeah, because it's only two. You can only have 2 entries, so comes into it a little bit.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's like a 1 in 2.5 chance, right? Or 1 in every 2.5 players are going to get a bit of cash. 3,000 paid is mad though, really, isn't it? 3,000 paid places paid down is a lot. It's really deep.
That's the biggest improvement or correction to the prize pool stuff that we got the other day. Is like I've been in D1 a bunch of times and got like 90th and got nothing. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting here thinking, I remember All-Star top 100 is like you're kind of all right with your week then. But now you can, like, the tail on prize pools feels like what it should have been the whole time. The sacrificial lamb to that, of course, is the bottom end divisions. I get that, but it's kind of like, even the bottom end divisions that are gone, like unlimited, you could just put shit in there. Like, it doesn't need to be that great, It can be tier 2s and 3s or whatever scattered around the place for the top bits.
When I was looking at like the actual how many places of the tails in D1 and D2 in, let's say, Rare Unlimited, I think those two divisions are going to be almost identical in number count. They're going to be like 3,000, and then like 1,000 in, or whatever it works out as, in D3. I think that's how they're going to want it. Maybe a couple more in D2 than D1, because I think there was like 600 paid in D1, maybe 650 in D2 or whatever for limited at least. So yeah, those two divisions are going to be obviously, they're going to be very, very jam packed. But at least there's a big tail, especially in D1 anyway. That's where there should be a jackpot and there should be a tail, I think, because that's the best division. Like that should be how it is. And I like how they've sort of absorbed the money and kind of, pulled it towards D1. And I think that should be it should be that way. And I'm not saying that from a perspective like I have all D1s, because I don't, but I'm just saying, like, in general, the best, biggest prizes and the most prizes should be in that division. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
I can't be argued. I don't think anyone is necessarily arguing it, maybe, but like that, they just haven't had it set up that way for whatever reason, really.
Yeah, I think with the promotion stuff that we've got here from Toby, kind of reminded me of what we got last year. All my thoughts where it would kind of be like that kind of diamond shape where it's kind of like thicker in the middle entrance wise. Obviously, it's now 3 divisions, so it's maybe a wee bit more pyramidy. But I think that D2 will probably still be the kind of fastest one.
You're right. Yeah, you will.
But like you're right, D1 will be the winners enclosure. It should be the smallest little.
Did you think the percentages were quite high though? The relegation from D1 is like 30%, is it not?
Yeah, it's fair. It's up from. I think it was 20 before.
Yeah, 20. We said that, didn't we? I'm sure we said it was around the 20 mark. I get it. Obviously, there's more people in there now, but 30%.
25 it is now. It's 25.
Okay. So 5%. Yeah, maybe it's not as detrimental. Maybe I thought as like a percentage. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I've just checked. That was Bundesliga anyway. I'll check another one or two, but I think it's 25 across the board. I've not got that many D1s open to me right now.
Yeah, I don't have a ton, but
they are all different. Super Rare, I checked that was like 12% or something. So like it's like tailored to the divisions, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, the thing with Essence is, again, we'll get into this in a lot more detail tonight, guys. But the thing with Essence, right, is it is kind of like, I think what they wanted it to be anyway, which is like a booby prize. Like you're only going to get Essence if you're like in that close but not quite zone of having a good game week. So it's not like people might win Essence every week, but it's not like, because not one person can win 2 things from a reward. It's not like you're going to get Essence and anything. So on all the leaderboards, there's a little bandwidth where they pay Essence before it goes to XP or whatever, So there's like fixed amounts of Essence to some good places, but not that many people will actually like get it, overall.
Yeah, I do. I actually am in favor of that whole, like, you can't win 2 things, even though like we've been doing that for a while now. And it's, from a greedy perspective, you'd obviously say you want it to stay. But I think more people, technically more people get rewarded, don't they? If you don't have 2 people winning, one person winning double the rewards, like we do now, we win a box and cash. I've always been of the thing of like, if there's people moaning that like they're not winning anything a bit lower down from the cash, then just take the boxes away, and that's what they have done, that, to be fair. So hats off to them. I didn't get my last training lineup in.
Oh, no way. We're at the deadline, guys. We're at 142 likes, guys. Can we get 8 more before you go away to enjoy your weekend, before we come back to listen to Andy Laird on the Data Show, and before we come back for Friday night? 8 more likes, guys. Take your phone out your pocket, change your tab on your phone, whatever you need to do. Sorare own and control the internet. They know you've been here for the last 2 hours getting some good chat from me and Harry, as well as breaking news on predicted lineups, and they are not going to be happy if they see you've not hit that like button. You will have chosen the wrong captain. They will cancel your lineup. Your guy will DNP randomly, and there's nothing we can do about it other than tell you, just hit the like button, help yourself out. Smash through it. 153 and counting. Love it, guys. Legends. Harry, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Yeah, been enjoyable, mate. Really enjoyed that. Hopefully get a good, nice little fruitful weekend. Hopefully I win Neon Special, finish first and second, scoop up both prizes. But yeah, I'm really excited. Should be able to join you later for some Go Fuck Friday action. And all the best to everyone in the chat.
And there's a wee phone in the background of me here going off, so apologies for that. But yeah, thanks to everyone that joined us today. And we'll see you tonight, hopefully, for a wee bit of good luck and Go Fuck.